Okay, so yes we can, because the theme for this month is all about yes. I was reminded of, speaking of May, just popped into my head, Mother May I. How many of you played Mother May I? You had to be really old and before anything. It's like there were 3 channels and there was only cartoons on Saturday morning, and the rest of the time you had to make up games. And those were the days, my friends. Anyway, so we played, we thought they'd never end, and then, oh, geez, everything's changed. Anyway, so we would play Mother May I, and a lot of people still play Mother May I, only they're still looking for permission. People look for permission. We look to outside sources. We want permission from parents that have been dead for 50 years. Well, maybe not 50. Good 5. No, really. How many of you? I mean, you may not even be conscious of it, but trust me, so much was conditioned into us in our first 5 years of birth, or of life, I should say, so much, that we have to understand that we're the one that says yes, because the universe has already said yes. We're already pre-approved. We're already significant in the grand scheme of things. We just have to say yes to what is possible. And yet I've noticed, this year I will have been working with people as a minister for 40 years. 40 years. This year. Well, I don't know if that's applause or I should have pity, but anyway. Oh, honey, 40 years and you still haven't learned. Anyway. So, do you know what I wanted to be when I was going to college? Well, I wanted to be an interior designer. I did. But I was told that nobody made any money at it. And then I also wanted to be a stand-up comic. Yeah, I showed them. Anyway, so you came here for a spiritual message, and I'm just here to have fun. So there you go. But anyway, I have worked with people for 40 years, and what I've noticed is the reason that the yes doesn't come together, the universal yes with the individual yes, they don't come together for 2 reasons. First of all, people are not clear about what they want. How many of you are practitioners and have done spiritual tune-ups? Great. You all know that people show up and they tell you what they don't want. They're very clear on what they don't want. And they just want you to pray and fix it. But they don't know what they do want. I mean, what's going to fill the space when that thing goes away? Really? People are not clear. The other thing is that they don't say no to what doesn't work. We just put up with it, because I think we outgrew being 2 years old. How many of you have had children? I should have more hands than that. All the parents on this side, how weird. How very strange. Anyway, I'll talk to you. Remember 2 years old and no. I mean, it was like that too. No. They discovered no. And why? Why? Now, I never had any children, but I was about 14 when my mother started having children again. So I watched this whole process 3 times. It convinced me I will never have children. No, really. No. I thought, no, I don't want to be put away for murder. I just won't have them. No, really. I wouldn't survive. No. Why? Anyway, but so we trained them out of questioning, and we dummied down the will to say no. So I want to just give a brief overview of these 2 items, because these 2 items are what keep us from what we can have in the world. That we can. Not only what we can have, but what the world can have. Because if we don't feel powerful ourselves, we don't think we have any significant opportunity to shift the way things are in the world. If it's just little old us, then we can't change anything, and we're waiting for something to happen. Because we don't come from a I can and collectively we can. Because this journey isn't just about us, it's about what we can do when we come together collectively. But if we come together collectively as just wimps, we're not going to get a lot done. Thank you. That wasn't even supposed to be funny, but I'll take any acknowledgement I can get. So let's start with the first reason that we don't demonstrate our own spiritual magnificence. It's because we're not clear on what we want. Oftentimes we're clear on what we don't want, but we're not really clear on what we want. We just know we want it to change. We're not able to be still and know what's in our heart. When I work with people, because they got ideas, but I watch the body and I watch the face until I know that the heart is engaged, because the heart doesn't lie. The body doesn't lie. It's always telling a truth. It's always yearning for fuller expression. So we ask the heart, and I'll give you some examples. For instance, I learned a long time ago, people don't want to work. They may be unemployed, but they don't really want to work. They'll pray for a job, but nobody wants a job. I mean, really, check inside your heart. Does the heart get all excited about a job? There's in fact, the whole room went kind of. What you do want, now look inside your heart. People want to make a contribution. People want to share their talents and their skills and what they're good at. People want to make a difference to an organization, to the world, to another person. And they want to be compensated and acknowledged. So when people go after jobs, because that's the right thing to do, it's hard to get their heart involved. Therefore, they're kind of limping along in this going forward. And there will be no passion in it, and therefore, it's not going to get the same results. They're going to go from one dead-end thing to another dead-end thing, and from one meh to another meh. I had to learn this a long time ago, where, I'd pray myself into a job and then have to pray myself out. That's horrible. In relationships, it's good to know what you want a relationship for. Why do you want a relationship? Do you want it for companionship? Do you want someone to grow with you through life? Do you want to feel supported? Do you want to be loved? Do you want hot sex? It's a possibility. I like that little muffle over there. Anyway. Or do we just want to not be alone? It's important to know those things, to go for what you want. And for a lot of this, not the hot sex, but you could just get a dog. I got to, anyway. Now, the reason I say that, I want it because I've watched people do things so they wouldn't be alone, and then they wonder why they suffer. I've watched people just want a companion, they get a companion, and then they got to fix the companion. I've watched this. I've watched people have children so someone would love them. It's not funny, though. I mean, I honestly watched it. I watched too many of my friends say, I need someone to love me. It's like, get a puppy. Don't do this to yourself, because you're going to be working out all of these issues for the next 20, 30, 40 years. See, it's important to know what your heart really wants. But sometimes we feel this hungry, aching need, and we just, in our head, come up with a solution, and we go after that solution instead of really asking what our heart wants. What does my heart really want? We're not clear. It's so important to listen to the heart, because if we don't, we will be disappointed. We won't believe in the power of prayer. We won't believe in the universal support that is available to us, and we will settle. Most of my time when I work with people, it's about helping them get clear on what they want. The next part of what I help people work on is the ability to say no to what doesn't work. Because often before a yes can be said, a no must be said first. You got to say no, or you can't say yes. To do that, we need to own our spiritual authority and say no to that which is destructive in our mind, and destructive in our habits, and destructive in the way that we meet the world. And we all have destructive stuff going on. For instance, this isn't anything new. We all know everything that it takes to have a magnificent life. I mean, if you're here, somehow you've run into enough books, enough podcasts, heard from this guru, saw this meme on social media, you know what it takes to have a magnificent life. You do. I will not tell you anything new. But what we're here to do together is to practice those things like they were true. Instead of, wow, that sounds so good, and I like the background. Isn't that pretty? More people are leaving. I've never had people leave before. I haven't even cussed yet. No, really. The talk title is Oh Holy No, and there's only Oh Holy No is because somebody that I really love and have been working with for a long time said, you know what, you cuss too much. Otherwise, the talk title would have been Oh Holy Hell No. Because sometimes you need to get a little hell in there. But it's just Oh Holy Hell, it's Oh Holy, anyway. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of times that you might want to say no, and these have just happened in the last week. All of this is recent. I'm always having to say no. I'm always having to encourage people to say no. When people say no, they can say yes. If you can't say no, you can't say yes. And it's not that they go together. It's not that you don't really have a yes if you don't have a no, which is true. It's that sometimes you have to clear the decks so that you can be creative by denying that this stuff has to continue. I'll give you an example. I was working with someone recently who could not have an adult conversation with their parents. Really, all sorts of stuff happened around here. Now, because this is not about that person, it's about us, because the things I'm going to talk about are universal. How many of you know you can't have an adult conversation with someone at some time? It could be a parent, it could be a child, it could be a spouse, it could be a boss, it could be a coworker, it could be the neighbor. How many of you know that you do that? Then this talk's for you. Now, they didn't feel comfortable setting boundaries. They didn't feel comfortable. And how many of we do that? Parents are authority figures. I mean, how many of you had like a secret life that your parents never knew about? No, really. My mama didn't know most of the stuff that I did when my 20s. I would I was practically married a whole bunch of times before she even knew I was dating. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon to not share, like, it's not even about boundaries. It's how many of you have ever been afraid to ask for a raise or expressed fears to a friend or a spouse, or afraid to share your future plans because you don't think your friends will support you in it. All of those are adult conversations, and we can back away from them. What happens in the human brain, I think, is that there can be a sense of resignation that this is the way it is, this is the way I am, so I just need to suffer through it. And it caused that person such pain. They would talk about speaking to either parent, and it pained them because they couldn't do anything except take what was going on. And that's when the time when you say something like, "Oh, holy no." Let's just practice that, because it's hardly ever said, "Oh, holy no." Yes, we can say no, no. Isn't that wonderful? See, when I asked the person what they would be like if they could experience love, they couldn't quite touch love, but they could touch presence. They could go into presence. They know what it was like when they were present and they felt a presence. And so I asked them to go into that experience. So feel the presence. Feel present to that presence. And they could describe it. It was strong. It was clear. It was empty, which means to me like there's not a lot of stuff in there. There's no past. There's no churning. It's just, so be present. Now imagine yourself talking to your father, and calmly they could say something they needed to say. Now, imagine yourself talking to your mother, and calmly they could say what they needed to say. And then I said, so picture yourself talking to your future partner, and calmly they could say what they needed to say. See, when they could say, "No, I don't have to be this way," they could imagine what they could be. But we often think, we just stop. This is the way, how many of you have said, probably this last week, "This is the way it is"? If you haven't said it, how many of you thought it? Well, this is the way it is. Oh, holy no. It's not the way it is. It's the way it has been. It need not stay that way. Do you know that the universe, according to quantum physics, is always blinking on and off, and the only thing that keeps it blinking on the way that it blinked off is a thought? Quantum physics believes in instantaneous healings. We don't. Mystics believed in instantaneous healings, but we don't. We got to say no to that. The way it was need not be the way it will be. The next thing to watch is the trajectory of things. Now, Ernest Holmes talks about trajectory. He says, if you see something happening, it doesn't mean that what you see is what will ultimately happen. It's just that it seems to be going in that direction. So if it's a good direction, you yell, "Yay!" If it's a bad direction, stop it. It can still be stopped before it hits. If a ball's going for a window, somebody still might show up and catch it. You don't assume that it can't shift midway. So I'll give you two. I think I only have time for one. I'll give you one example. I have been practicing. It takes practice. This is a high practice. Practicing knowing that I am an infinite, unlimited, creative being. Yes, having a human experience is Kathianne Lewis and having the time of my life. But really, I'm an infinite, unlimited, creative being, living outside time and space, which is the truth. Because if I am an expression of spirit, and that spirit, that's me too. But we're just like, no, I'm here, I'm sitting in here, and I got these things, I get hungry, and people do things, and like I forget, but I've been practicing doing that. So one of my horses got lame. My husband said, she's lame. I'm like, how'd she get lame? How'd she get lame? And I watched my one horse, two horses. I have Karma and Starlet at the house. Karma came in, trot, 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 trot. Starlet came in. It's like, trying to move this leg was like, it's just painful. Head down, I can't hardly do it. And I'm looking at her. So here's Kathianne the human. Okay, I've got a call to that. Hopefully he can come in as soon as possible. Hopefully nothing's broken. It's just a tendon or a soft tissue, but that means that there's a hair here. Oh, holy hell no. No, so, anyway. So I'm thinking all of the things I have to do. I've got to call the vet. It's probably a soft tissue injury because I don't think she fell or anything. And that means that we're going to wrap her, we're going to put cold water on her, and it's going to take about 6 months to heal because I've had that happen with another horse, and I'm already figuring out what it's going to take to make her well. And then part of me remembered I was an infinite, unlimited, creative being. Sort of like, let's say it together. Oh, holy no. By the way, you're much more orchestrated than first service, but don't tell them that. Anyway. And I just said, no, she's well now. And I watched her stretch out that leg and no more limp. No more limp. Now, anyone can do that, but you have to practice ahead of time. A lot of people don't turn to God or practice until something's falling apart. Practice before it falls apart. That's why you do spiritual practice. That's why you read. That's why you pray. That's why you meditate. You don't do it like, oh no, I'm sore. Now I got to find God. No. Remember who you are. And then when stuff comes up, you can say, oh, holy no, and this is what I want. The next thing, one of the other things that we do is that we know who people are because of our righteous judgment. And therefore, they're going to stay that way. And that comes out of, many times, my life is the way it is because of them. How many of you have done that? I love it. Oh, I love it. Little sneaky hands on that one. This is one of those things you want to do in private, which is, righteous judgment. Okay, so what happens is that when we rise in consciousness and our minds become clear, which is the whole theme for this year. Heaven is here when the mind is clear. So the mind becomes clearer and clearer. We rise up in consciousness, and then we start to experience heaven. And when we start to experience heaven, we're called to see them as heavenly. Ooh, in an election year. Oh, baby, are we going to be holy when this year's over? Holy. Holy. See, let me just read to you an email I got just yesterday. In the second Power of Love workshop, you popped out of your chair with a truth that has been working me ever since. You said that people will continue to show up as we expect them to show up. It's our job to see them as we want them to be. Yeah. Meaning holy, meaning whole, meaning expressions of life just like we are, meaning beloved by God just as we are. What I have been doing is practicing seeing those in my life that I have not seen as whole and actually seeing them as the true essence of God. I cannot tell you how this has changed my entire view of them. It's even changed their physical appearance. God is so amazing. So the next time we start to judge another, what are we going to say? Oh, holy no. Oh, holy no. I love it. Because, and then say something like this. I am open to seeing as God sees. I'm open to being present to love and letting love work through me. I'm open to being, this is the word, I love it, incorrect in my opinion. I did say wrong. Because there's a part of your ego that would really like to be wrong. How many of you know that you work on wrong? How many of you know that you got to, I did it wrong. No, I might have been incorrect in my opinion. I'm going to let it go. Oh, holy no. So didn't we have a song for this? So there was what was it about the yes? There was yes, I can. Yes, I can. No, holy, no, 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 no. No, holy, no, holy, no, no. So, just go around. When your mind goes off and it says, ooh, ick, or or I can't, or I won't, I'll never, just go, oh, holy, no, no. That's it. That's the prayer. I'm done.